Okay, in this I'm going to cover using a melodic material more as an atmosphere kind of situation. And for lack of better words, I'm just going to call it something like Dark Journey. It just has a little bit of darkness to it, and no, I'll just leave it at that. Descriptions are kind of not what I'm looking for here. It's just creating a dark kind of mood, and we'll just write in a random thing. That's what we're looking for, and it could work for various situations. So, and we'll arm ourselves with the knowledge that having a hard time typing here. I'm reaching over to my keyboard. So, knowledge, chromatic medians, minor to minor. So, okay, so knowledge, creating melodic themes that aren't meant to be as memorable as, that create more of a mood, armed with knowledge of chromatic medians, maybe an F minor, a D flat minor, F minor, and maybe you're working with that and trying to create some kind of ostinato or melodic line that has just kind of motion. Actually, what I'll do is I'll try to work it into something 9 and something like that. Groups of 9. So we'll do something like this. So I'm repeating it. If you have to count it out, that's fine too. So what I'll do is I'm going to actually work this, and this will be really simple. Groups of 9, we could use, for instance, 9/8, and this will actually give you a little bit of that odd time gives you a slightly disjunct feel. So and it might even spark different ideas. And then maybe work into something that rises a little bit. Something like that. That flat 5. That little disjunctness of that flat 5. A very common chromatic note in many, many styles. It'll produce a little bit of uneasiness. So same. So it's basically the same kind of thing happening all the time. See, even melodies with motion, you still have the same kind of thing happening all the time. Similarities, there's a lot of similarities in this whole thing. So in terms of the motion and whatnot. So what I'll do is I'll step record this in. I wanted to make sure I remembered it. Okay. So we have these groups of 9. You notice how they're very similar. So bear that in mind. Just like writing melodies, there's a lot of similarity in this motion type atmosphere kind of thing. I'm going to boost the tempo. So similarity. That flat 5, remember, that's a kind of a cool thing to do when you're using minor. So I'm going to write in the chords and just have an F minor. In which we'd have an A flat. low chords, very menacing kind of sounding, dark. Okay, we're going to tie those off. And let me finish up. And it's not letting me input that low. I want to see the 5th of F minor. So we're going to go ahead and tie these off, this first group. What I'll do is just simply copy this so I can don't have to re-input everything, and we'll just change the actually I'm going to stick this in bass clef so it's easier for people to read. If you can't read very well, then this is, and maybe stick this over a treble clef. Just for simplicity, reading simplicity. So here we're going to make it our chromatic median, so we need a D flat. I'm just going to go root and 5th. Root and 5th. And so now we're going to have to do something here. In order for this to be a D flat chord, that E has to become an F flat. So it seems kind of funky, but so that means we have to re-natural the F over here. F, if we used a C sharp, it wouldn't actually spell out a chromatic median, even though it'd be the same sound. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this, and we'll just repeat it throughout this entire sequence. Okay, so just as a general thing, you might want to change. So we might want to change up after that. So I'm not going to go very far with this. The whole point is creating the motion kind of melody that. So mostly using F minor flat 5, and then the raised 7th because that chromatic median. So it's technically not a raised 7th. It's technically switching to the D flat minor chord. So we might want to do some kind of shift, and we'll do a half step shift from there. Because I see that the melody would only require one step to shift to D minor. One step from where it left off. So this is just to give you an idea where to go. I'm not going to go very far, so we'll do like a half step shift from D flat minor to D minor as the next chord, and kind of repeat. The whole goal is to kind of repeat the same exact sequence in D minor. So I'm not going to go completely far into that, because this is more about establishing this mood. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take 2 bars just to show you the transition. Well, go ahead and paste it here, and all we'll have to do is really, just for our sketch, is transpose it. I don't know why that was in there. So I got the tempo in there. I'm not going to correct anything else. I see that. Let's go ahead and transpose this into. So from F it's down a minor third. D's a minor third from F, but so that makes it a major 6 transposition if I go upwards. So I want it to end where that should be an F flat there. I want it to end. So I'm going to go a major 6 up, which is inverted as a minor third down. Okay. So that puts it right into D. Same exact sequence. D minor. Oops. So let's go ahead and hear it. So that sudden shift, just a half step up, is a good way to shift this out and keep the momentum going, a little bit of change. I'm going to throw in some dynamics. I'm not going to correct anything else here. We're just going to leave it as is. This is mostly about this melody. Using a motion kind of melody. So I'm throwing in, I don't know why it's not responding to both staves. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Maybe when it shifts to D minor, oops, I'm sorry. Actually, that crescendo should be on just on the previous part, and this dynamic should shift there. So we have a little sketch. Wow, that came out pretty loud. Well, it's notation playback. It really doesn't play back that well. So that's the whole thing, is just this similarity of motion kind of melodic idea, creating more of an atmosphere. And it's itself creating a similarity between each phrase. They're very similar. So let's go on to part 2, and I'm going to stop it. Okay, what I did with it is I took a concept of the double octave and then used that shifting to a triple octave. And this is something you can actually do. So what we got, a way to present it, I'm sorry. So we got this double octave, meaning they're all an octave apart, through the first. And I'm sorry, notation playback is kind of terrible. So and then when it shifts to D minor, this might be a good idea. Triple octaves. So it's kind of loud, but that was intentional, so you don't have to lean in. So as a backing, we just use, trombones are really good for a low menacing sound, especially in quiet, or even loud. So pretty simple. Then switch to a higher, more airy sound. No, more of a middle sound instead of low menacing on the triple octave. 3 horns and a bassoon. So, this is just a sketch. I left in every mistake, and so what to get out of this is this whole the way to present that melodic idea to create the atmosphere is double octaves starting, and then on the transition moving to triple octaves, and where the violins 1 come in on the triple octave. So let's go ahead and hear this with good samples, and that's sequenced. So just a second. And I just left it there. You could have continued on with the same pattern, exactly the same as it was in D flat. So the thing to get out of this is kind of this similar kind of melodic content, more of a motion melody, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to get all technical because I think that gets in the way sometimes. So the similar melodic motion per bar, and presenting it in double octaves, and maybe on a transition presenting it as triple octaves. Just ideas to throw around. So ways to present that idea. Alright, take care.